Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Council President Kate Stewart. Thank you for
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being out here today and standing up for our values in Montgomery County and across the country. I'm Evan Glass. I'm an at-large member of the Montgomery County Council, and I have the honor and privilege of serving the residents of Montgomery County as the first openly LGBTQ+ member of the council. We are here because we support public education. We are here because we support our beautiful diversity. And we are here because the two have to coexist, not only in Montgomery County, but across the country, where we learn about our diversity, we celebrate our diversity, and we do not erase the realities that exist. We know that kids grow up in a lot of different families. I grew up in a home with a single mom. We know that there are children in Montgomery County who go home every day and they have a mom and a dad. There are kids who go home and they have one parent. Maybe their grandparents live with them. But we also know that there are kids who go home to rainbow families, showing the beautiful diversity that exists. And we know that a number of our kids are LGBTQ+. And the reality that we're talking about today is people want to erase us from books. They want to erase us from existing. And are we going to let them erase us? No, we are not. Because we celebrate our diversity. We recognize that we all can coexist, but we have to learn about the world. One of the reasons Montgomery County is the most diverse place in the country is because we welcome everybody from all around the world, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of where you pray, who you love, how you identify. And when we gather in schools, we learn about the world. And that is what public education is all about. And I want to share this story with you. When I first got elected in 2018, and we raised the pride flag in Rockville for the very first time, the outpouring of support was incredible. Yes, there was hate. And there was so much hate that I actually had to stop answering my office phones for 3 days because people didn't like it. But we persisted, we resisted, and we continue to celebrate Pride in Montgomery County, and we'll be doing that again in June. But there were so many young people and families who came up to me after and said, "Thank you. I feel seen." That's what this is about. When we celebrate everybody, when we recognize everybody's worth, it is worth being in books and literature. And for eons, we have written about the world and read about it and taught about it. And this moment is no different. So again, are we going to allow them to erase us from books? We are not. Because when that happens, everything changes. What happens if they allow us, if they dictate that we stop reading about LGBTQ+ people? We know that there are people who don't believe in evolution, and that's what comes next. There is a litany of other issues that public education is supposed to teach about. It is a core principle of our democracy and our community. And so, this fight that we are leading today is not just about Montgomery County, because we know first, if they come for the LGBTQ+ community, we know they're coming for everybody else. First, they want to erase us from books, and we'll see who else they want to erase in the future. That will erode public education. That will throw us all back into the closet. And are we going to let that happen? We are not going to let that happen. So thank you all for being out here today, supporting Montgomery County, supporting public education, and supporting our ability to learn. That is how we grow as a society. That is how we grow as a community. And all of us standing up together, we're not only protecting our LGBTQ+ youth, we're protecting public education, and yes, we are protecting the First Amendment and our democracy. So thank you all for being out here today.
because you're asking for what? What are we asking for? We're asking for an accommodation.
All right, everyone.
First,
I would like everyone to scooch in a little bit more. We're going to get close. Thank you. That way we can keep like the walkways clear. Next up, we have Dorian Rogers, he, him. Dorian is from Clarksburg, Maryland. He holds a Bachelor of Liberal Arts from Salisbury University. Dorian wears many hats within the community. Currently, he serves as the state president of the NAACP Maryland State Conference Youth and College Division. He's a member of the Free the Degree Coalition and a substitute teacher within Montgomery County Public Schools, and also a dear friend. Next, welcome Dorian.
One that's afforded all of the United States. So they removed the accommodation, and we went to MCPS, and we spoke eloquently.
Good morning, everybody.
And we spoke elegantly.
Can we get one specific good morning to the justices back there? So on three, let's say 1, 2, 3. I want us to keep that energy because when it comes to people power, that's exactly what we have right here. When I say people, you say power. People, people. That's very, very important because we're not just standing on our democracy, we're standing on not just the future, but now. And right now we need to defend our public education. Our public education because it's the very intersections that reflect the uniqueness of all life on this earth. And Montgomery County is something that has shown me that, not just as a student, but as a graduate of MCPS Public Schools. I graduated from Clarksburg, by the way. And I want this particular message not just to go to this crowd, I want it to go to everyone who's at home, who's at work, who's at school, who's continuing to fight the good fight or trying to figure out what they can do. Because it's not necessarily what you can do, it's what you were prepared to do. It's what you were prepared to do for your fellow neighbor. And that's very important because sometimes we fall for something called the low-hanging fruits. These are the low-hanging fruits that we often talk about that seeks to divide us. Divide us based on the intersections that make us unique, based on ethnicity, based on ability, based on who you love, based on how you identify. And are we going to let people attack our neighbors? Are we going to let people attack our tax dollars to our public education so that our kids can not only uplift our present, but our future for all of us? No, we're not. Because quite frankly, regardless of what the courts come up with, regardless of what our members of Congress come up with, because again, these three branches are what make this democracy, not one person that thinks that they can be a king. No, it's about us. It's how we write our stories. And so at the end of the day, as we leave this place today, I need you all to remember something. Don't ask yourself what you're gonna do. Ask yourself what you were prepared to do. Do what you can. Because quite frankly, it's not just about one of us, it's about all of us. I feel as though sometimes, and this is something I thought about when I was getting up this morning, my friend asked me, she was like, why do you feel so nervous giving this speech? I get so nervous because sometimes when we talk the good talk, we need to match actions to our words. Sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes it can be defeating. Sometimes it can be like you're alone. But we got us. We got each and every one of us, and what we do matters. And so we need to remember that going forward today, it's not about the opposition, it's about us. And what we're prepared to do, not just for the now, but for the future, so that we can lay the foundation for the next generation.
And do some lives?
Thank you all very much. And also, we have a chant in NAACP. I want to get y'all a little bit hyped up. Let's get the court hyped up. When I say fired up, you say ready to work. Fired up! Ready to work! Fired up! Ready to work! Fired up! Ready to work! You all are awesome. Thank you.
stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed. Keep our clothes on the floor, open up champagne. Let's continue tonight, come on, celebrate. Sometimes you gotta stay, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play the music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild.
Hands off, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Hands off, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Child, tired of the booth. God, dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new in there, swimwear, going to the pool. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your heart out the door. I do my head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Baby, how you feeling? Girl, need to kick off your shoes. Gotta take a deep breath, time to focus on you. All the big fights, long nights that you've been through. I got a bottle of tequila I've been setting for you.
Cause he better know my worth. There's so much that I deserve, but I ain't worried now. I'ma let my hair blow. He been trying up and out today. So girl, if you don't love you anymore,
Walk your heart out the door. Do your head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my names. Baby, how you feeling?
I'm gonna pop some back. Looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome.
Walk into the club like, what up? I got a big I'm just pumped up. I see from the thrift shop. Ice in the fringe is so damn frosty. The people like, hey, that's a cold ass honky. Rolling in hella deep, headed to the mezzanine. Dressed in all pink, set my gator shoes. Those are green drink and a lipper make. Girl standing next to me. Probably should have washed this. Smells like R. Kelly sheets. It was 99 cents. Copping it, washing it. About to go and get some compliments. Passing up on those moccasins. Someone else is girl mocking them. Bummy and grungy fucking me. I'm stunting and flossing and saving my money. And I'm hella happy that's a bargain. I'ma take your grandpa style. I'ma take your grandpa style. No, for real. Ask your grandpa. Can I have his hand-me-down? Your Lord jumpsuit and some house slippers. Dookie brown leather jacket that I found. Dig it. It had a broken keyboard. I bought a broken keyboard. I bought a ski blanket. Then I bought a new board. Hello, my ace man, my metal. John Wayne ain't got nothing on my fringe game. Hell no. I can take some pro wings, make them cool, sell those. Sneak ahead to be like,
He got the Velcro. I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome. I'm gonna come up. This is awesome. I'll wear your granddad's clothes. I look incredible. I'm in this big air coat from that thrift shop down the road. I'll wear your granddad's clothes. I look incredible. I'm in this big air coat from that thrift shop down the road. I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is awesome. I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is awesome.
right. Everyone, come on over. Let's pull it in. Let's pull it in. Thank you so much. I know we're all connecting, seeing one another, haven't seen folks in. I would love everybody to scooch in real close, come over by the umbrella folks.
No notice, no consent, no choice.
Thank you, thank you.
These laws aren't neutral
Wonderful.
stories about inclusion and
So, next up I have the pleasure of introducing Delegate Gabriel Acevero, he, him. Delegate Gabriel Acevero represents Maryland's 39th House District, and in 2018, Acevero became the first openly gay Afro-Latino elected to the Maryland General Assembly and has been a champion for inclusive curriculum in the House of Delegates. Delegate Acevero has introduced legislation that would ensure the history and contributions of LGBTQ+, Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian, and women's history are not only taught in Maryland schools, but also incorporated into every part of school instruction. Delegate Acevero serves as the co-chair of the National Black Justice Coalition's Good Trouble Network and is also a member of the Maryland LGBTQ Caucus in the General Assembly. I am so honored to introduce Delegate Gabriel Acevero, who is making his way up here right now. Thank you all so much.
Good morning, family. Good morning, family. Wonderful. As was mentioned, I'm Gabriel Acevero, and I'm proud to represent Maryland's 39th House District. And I'm equally as proud to be out here with each and every one of you all to say that we are not just moving forward and ensuring that who we are as a people and as our community is not just recognized, but our history will not be erased. Am I right? I want to be clear that as long as there have been humans, as long as this planet has been inhabited by human beings, there has been lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and queer people who have lived, existed, contributed, done so much to make this country what it is. And we are here today to say that no matter how much people try, no matter how much efforts and campaigns that they assemble to not just diminish the contributions of LGBTQ+ people, but to deny us the right of every other group to have our history and our contributions not just taught, but incorporated in every single fabric of our school instruction. Am I right? I'm proud to introduce a bill that I've been introducing for the past few years that's called the Commission on History, Culture, and Civics in Education. And the importance of that bill is that we recognize that if we truly want to be the United States of America, you cannot have unity without justice. You cannot have justice without truth-telling, and you can't have truth-telling without courage. And the reality of it is that this country has never had the courage to have the uncomfortable conversation, not just of the role that racism has played in every single segment of our society, but the role and the contributions of LGBTQIA+ people. And today we are here to say that we are not just going to honor our history, we are going to make sure that every single generation is aware and taught, and our contributions is incorporated into every school instruction. Am I right? Because we have created stages for other people to stand on. We have contributed to movements that have been selective in their solidarity. But today I am grateful for every single supportive parent that is here today. Can we give it up for the supportive parents of our queer kids? Because what we know is that love is unconditional. Love is one that ensures that it protects. And what we are seeing today is a true reflection of not just good parenting, but parental rights. What we are seeing today is an example of good parenting, because what we know is that LGBTQ plus people are not just the now, we are the future. We are the architects of our own destiny. We are the architects of our own history. And what we know from our history is that whether it's folks like James Baldwin or Harvey Milk or Stormy DeLavery or Major Griffin Grace or none other than Marsha P. Johnson, we know that this country will not be what it is without us. And in order for it to be called to its better self, we have to be a part of that process. Because we know this country historically has denied the rights and dignity of a number of people. And we refuse to stand by as it erases not just the contributions of queer folks, but it chooses to erase us as a people altogether. And I'm here to say that as long as humans have existed, we have existed, and will continue to exist. Trans people have been here, and they'll continue to be here, regardless of how many bigots show up and try to deny them of their humanity. Am I right? Queer folks will continue to be here and will continue to show up, because we know that this country is nothing without us. So thank you again to all of the organizers of today, regardless of the oral arguments behind us and regardless of the decisions. We know that we have to be committed to the long-term struggle of LGBTQ plus liberation. Because as Audre Lorde so rightly put it, without community, there is no liberation. And today what I see before me is community. What I see before me is a commitment to LGBTQ plus equality. What I see before me is not just allies, but co-conspirators. What I see before me are a great example of parenting. What I see before me is the future. And what I see before me is the effort, the struggle, the movement to ensure that no voice will be louder than the voices of LGBTQ plus people when it comes to our rights. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? So we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to show up and recognize that there is no LGB without the T. And regardless of how many people try to separate and divide us, our struggle is interconnected. Our struggle is interwoven, and the liberation of our trans and queer siblings is directly linked to the liberation of all of us. Am I right? And those of us who choose to stand and show up with us, we appreciate you and we see you. I want to be clear that in this moment and going forward, that while we appreciate allies, what we as LGBTQ plus people need as are co-conspirators. People who are willing to not just show up, but to make the sacrifices that we have continuously made, not just for our own humanity, but for us to be able to exist. I call upon each and every one of you all to not just show up as co-conspirators, but make sure that you're showing up in your state capitals too, because it is equally as important what happens in DC, what happens in our state capitals. Am I right? What happens in our county and city councils? Am I right? What happens in our boards of education? Am I right? And what happens at every single level of government? Am I right? So today, tomorrow, and every single day, we will continue to show up, because that is what liberation requires. And I promise you that what we struggle for today, it is for future generations, and they will look back in pride, because they know that they stand on the shoulders not just of giants, but people who are willing to make sacrifices, not just as queer folks, but as co-conspirators. Solidarity now, solidarity forever. Thank you.
Today, parents are claiming the most basic religious right to be the primary educators of their children about delicate sexual topics, and that
Gabe.
This is not
As you all can see, he fights so hard for us in every public space that he shows up. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you for being here. So our next, you know what? We're actually gonna have a slight change in tone. We are gonna read one of those crazy books that the opposition talks about. We are gonna read one of those books to show what is so not scary about all of our amazing communities. So, genderful gender bender of the DMV, Ricky Rose has taken the world by a full-bodied zesty storm as an internationally known, award-winning, multidisciplinary artist, as DC's first non-binary title holder, being crowned Mixed DC Latinx Pride 2018. They have been seen across stages worldwide, as well as leaving their legacy right here in the nation's capital. Give it up, everybody, for our next performer who is going to read a lovely story time, Ricky Rose.
Moms like me don't have the most basic religious liberty rights when it comes to our kids. But just because I'm footing
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ricky Rose, as announced. I'm so very, very honored to be here with Living Your Truth and all of you. I am a proud non-binary two-spirit from the island of Boriquen, also known as Puerto Rico. Give it up for our Latinx community. I am also a proud member of a family of educators. My tia has been an educator on the island of Puerto Rico for the past 30+ years. And my sister is the president of the Chesterfield Education Association, part of the larger Virginia State Teachers Union. So I'm very, very proud to be part of that, and I'm so grateful to have a sibling like that who has been my biggest advocate ever since coming out as queer and ever since coming out as trans. With that, I'm going to go ahead and read a story for you all that is one of my favorite children's books and also rings true to my very personal experience growing up with my incredible, incredible sister. This book is called Jack, Not Jackie, and it is written by Erica Silverman and illustrated by Holly Haddam.
Living in this country guarantees our right to religious freedom, and we will not be scared.
My sister Jackie has the best giggle. When she stares at me with her big, round eyes, my heart feels bubbly. Oh, baby Jackie, I whisper. When you get bigger, we'll play in my tent. We'll twirl like forest fairies, and we'll be explorers together.
As we wait for our speakers to come, enjoy the nice weather and please stay around.
Jackie sleeps. Jackie eats.
Until we get a couple minutes.
Jackie burps and hiccups. Sometimes Mama lets me hold her. My sister giggles just for me. Jackie crawls everywhere. I say, let's be kitty cats. Meow, meow, meow. Woof, 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 says Jackie. I love that giggle. Every day we play peekaboo. Boo, 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 says Jackie. One day she says, Susu. Mama, Daddy, I shout. Jackie said my name. My name is really Susan, but now I like Susu too. As soon as Jackie can walk, she runs. Don't fall, Jackie. Good thing she loves her dinosaur Band-Aids. My sister Jackie also loves mud. Mud puddles, mud pies, mud, mud, mud. Ick. Jackie, let's be forest fairies, I say, putting ribbons in her hair. Ew, she pulls them out. Never mind, they can be explorers then. Jackie puts on her cape. She wears that silly cape everywhere. Explorers don't wear capes, I tell her. So what? I can fly. I can buzz. I am Superbug! She jumps off the bed and whooshes away. For Jackie's birthday, Mama buys her a dress. But Jackie throws it on the floor and cries. Daddy says, rubbing his chin. Someone does not like her new dress. That's okay. She can wear whatever feels right, says Mama. Jackie puts on Daddy's hat and his vest. She rubs her chin and says, just like Daddy, I say, only smaller. Jackie giggles. When we go shopping for clothes, Jackie runs to the boys section. No, not there, Jackie, I shout. Over here! But Jackie picks out shorts and a shirt, and a baseball cap, and a tie. No ties, I say, snatching it away from her. Jackie grabs it back. Mine! The ties are for boys! We wear what feels right, says Mom. Remember? But it's wrong, I say. Not wrong, Susu, says Mama. Just different. Jackie wears her new baseball cap out to the park. While I swing on the monkey bars, Jackie plays with a boy in the sandbox. Together, they push little cars over bumpy roads. Vroom, vroom, vroom! Time to go, calls Daddy. Bye, Roy, says Jack, waving to her friend. Bye, Jack, says the boy. Jack, I call. But your name is... No, 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 no! Jackie yells, and then covers her ears and sticks out her tongue at me. We all walk slowly, Daddy, Jackie, Mama, and me. Nobody says anything all the way home. On haircut day, I go first.
All right, folks, let's
Not too much, Mama. I like it swingy.
Come back in, please. Come back in.
But Jackie says, more, more, more.
Come back in, please.
So Mama cuts and cuts.
Everybody by the street, come in.
Stop, Mama, stop, I shout. Now Jackie looks like a boy.
You guys have done great today. Give it up to yourself.
Jackie says, I am a boy. Mama is quiet. Finally, she says, well, Jackie's been trying to tell us that for a long time.
What happens today? What has been...
Jackie turns and walks over to me with big round eyes. Please call me Jack.
Tireless work.
But Jackie, you're my sister.
Make sure that this case continues.
No, Susu, I'm your brother.
When we did not get the decision...
I don't want a brother, I shout. I want my sister back!
Walked away.
And we both start to cry.
Could they have walked away? They could have walked away, but they didn't.
I hide in my tent. I'm hiccuping and my tummy hurts. But then I remember when Jackie was a tiny hiccuping baby and Mama let me hold her.
We thought in Richmond we would have a shot.
I pick up some crayons and 2 pieces of paper. I draw a picture of Jackie. And when I'm done, I draw a picture of Jack.
And spoke eloquently and defended our case.
Jackie, Jack.
Give it up for Rebecca.
The same big round eyes. My sister, my brother. It's okay.
When we didn't get the decision in Richmond,
and little by little, my heart starts to feel bubbly again.
dejected. I submit to you, we were dejected.
I open my tent flap and peek out, and I see big round eyes staring at me. Jack, I whisper, let's be superbugs together.
Go ahead and sit down.
You can wear your cape and your tie.
Down, and even people in our own communities, they said, Brother Webb, they said,
My brother Jack has the best giggle.
Maybe you should sit down.
Thank you so much. Please keep supporting one another, loving one another. Keep fighting, and we will get through this. We love you.
We can try something different. law would follow through and get us to the Supreme Court. And that's where we are today.
Our next speaker is the Deputy Speaker Pro Tem of the House, Delegate Jared Solomon. Thank you so much.
We will prevail today. This is our day.
Good morning, everybody.
Wasn't our day.
Thank you so much for being
Richmond
here.
wasn't our day.
My name is Delegate Jared Solomon, and I serve in the Maryland House of Delegates, and I have the real pleasure of getting to represent some of the wonderful organizations that helped bring today together. So I want to give a special shout out to Temple Emmanuel in Kensington and Cedar Lane, also in Kensington. It's a real honor to get to represent those communities in the House of Delegates. I know we've got a bunch of constituents here in the House today, but I really just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you for showing up, for using your voices. I'm a dad of 2 young kids, one who soon is very excited to be entering kindergarten in MCPS later this fall. I'm a former teacher. I started my career teaching high school in Baltimore City. And to me, this is fundamentally about making sure that everybody sees themselves and their families in their curriculum and feels included in school. Right? It's not about indoctrination, it's not about coercion, it is about inclusion and making sure everybody feels welcome, regardless of your family, regardless of your background, regardless of who you love. It's about making sure that you see yourself in a society, in the diverse society that frankly is one of the best things about living in Montgomery County. And today is a perfect representation of that. And so being here and using your voices and speaking out and speaking up is so important. We will continue to do that for you in Annapolis. We will continue to do that for you in Rockville. And we will continue to do that to make sure that all of your families, that all of our families are represented in our public schools. The last thing I want to share that is also really important to me, and again, I want to thank the folks from Temple Emmanuel for helping to organize this, and Rabbi Raushenbush, who's a friend and a neighbor. I am the co-chair of the Maryland Legislative Jewish Caucus, and one of the things that Judaism teaches us is to love thy neighbor like yourself. And what does that really mean? At its core, it means that you want for your neighbor or for your community the same happiness that you would want for yourself and your own family. And again, that's what this is about. This is making sure that nobody feels excluded, that nobody is ostracized, that everybody feels like they are represented and are part of the community that they choose to live in. And that's, at its core, what this is about. And so again, from the bottom of my heart, as again a dad to somebody, we've read many of these books together as a family, and I want this to be part of my son's daily curriculum in Montgomery County. I want him to know that people are different, and differences make us great and make us better. And so again, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for using your voices. There's a million other things you could be doing today other than standing out here in the heat. But this is so important, and I wanted to just come and say thank you. I want to recognize the organizers, Philip Anthony, Lee Blinder, Reverend Bell, who have been amazing partners with us in Annapolis and continue to be amazing community leaders. And again, thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you.
Will we be smothered today? Will we be smothered today? Will we be smothered today? Ladies and gentlemen.
So I want to make something perfectly clear to everyone that's here, and I think that all of you know it as well. We are fighting for their children as well. We are fighting for their inclusion as well. We are standing up for every single young person, every single family, every single religious minority, every single LGBTQIA+ person, every single individual that is here. We are fighting for their inclusion, for their stories to be told. We need more books, not less of them. We need more inclusion and not less of it.
Stay with us.
So I want to take a moment to, of course, recognize our amazing organizers and sponsors. The Coalition for Inclusive Schools and Communities, Living Your Truth, MoCo Pride Center, and the entire Montgomery County Pride family, Trans Maryland, the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, the National Women's Law Center, Authors Against Banned Books, Poolsville Pride, SEAT, Students Engaged in Advancing Texas, First Conversations, Advocates for Trans Equality, PEN America, National P-Flag, Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Congregation, Temple Emmanuel of Kensington, the National Council of Jewish Women, the National Black Justice Collective, Black Equity Baltimore, the Interfaith Alliance, Advance Maryland, Drag Story Hour DMV, Drag Story National, the Rainbow Defense Coalition, Kind Cotton, and more. Thank you all so much. More than 24 co-sponsors, national community organizations are showing up here for all of you and for all of our amazing families, our communities, because you absolutely belong. You absolutely belong. And also, The Eye of the Tiger is an uplifting song for all queer and trans people. Can we put that out now? So let's always make sure that we are loving all of our neighbors and encouraging education, because it starts with our youth, so that we can bring them so that we can bring their knowledge to create our future generations, a more loving, kind, and caring society that includes all of us. Thank you all so very much. And we are gonna have some music before we have some spoken word. We have amazing performances. We got drag performers today, everybody. So it's gonna be going off. Like, we are gonna show up in anything that someone says deems wrong or unnecessary or not right, just because they think in their minds, because someone told them that our humanity did not matter as much. We will tell you lovingly that you are incorrect, and all of us matter. Thank you so much. And thank you, DJ Confetti the First. Oh, we have snacks and water over here, y'all, if you need any. So please treat yourself, refresh, yes. Coffee as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to ask everyone to pull in, come close. We're about to have one of our other speakers for today. We have next up Lorenzo Simpson, aka Lolo Vaughn, uses he, him pronouns, and Lorenzo is a writer, comic, and voice actor from Hyattsville, Maryland. As a voice actor, he's worked with Whitman Walker Health, as well as the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators. He is a member of the Washington Renegades, the first gay inclusive rugby team in America, and the HBCU Convention, an organization dedicated to connecting historically Black colleges and universities and the geek community. Let's give a big round of applause for Lorenzo. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. This one's for the kids in the back of the class scared to raise your hand because asking for knowledge has become an issue in this country. This is for the black boy whose voice they said is a little too high-pitched, whose walk is a little too much like his mother's, who dares to cry out loud when he feels pain. This is for the gentle giant kid who hears Big Back 30 times before homeroom, who doesn't want to play football because there's a song in his heart waiting to come out. This is for black boys that get called by their dead name who just want the world to accept who they are. This is for black boys who feel like boy isn't the right fit for them. This is for the black boys who dare to be different, are scared to be different, because the school curriculum doesn't teach them about people like them. Here's a bit of hope for you. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. William Dorsey Swan was born into slavery in Hancock, Maryland. Freed from his mother's womb only to be instantly imprisoned by Uncle Sam, this man learned at a young age his life didn't belong to him. Any hopes and dreams he had for himself meant nothing in the blue eyes of the so-called real Americans. Had it not been for the Civil War ending in abolishment, his family may have died tilling the same soil, on the same farm, whose fruit would never taste as sweet in their mouths as freedom. But even after his family had been freed, that was only the first layer of oppression. The first time William Dorsey Swan was arrested for stealing books, taking the knowledge they wouldn't give him to help his family survive. And in a time where being black and free was a new concept to all, when black people were being killed for being outside too late, this man put on a dress, stepped into high heels, and told the world, I am a queen. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. William Dorsey Swan put on fabulous drag balls in DC, encouraging many enslaved queer black people to embrace the feminine, to replace the shackles of oppression with the finest of jewelry, and the legendary House of Swan was born. They held cakewalk contests, the same ones they did in the slave quarters when Master was away, playfully mocking these colonizers and giving the funniest one a cake. The fierce hip switching and hand waving was the blueprint for what we now call voguing. The phrase cakewalk is rooted in slavery, but also in rebellion. Winning a cake for giving the best white people be like walk is one of the many ways our people sought out joy even when others were determined to keep us down. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. On April 12, 1888, on his 30th birthday, William Dorsey Swan was the first documented case of a man being arrested for impersonating a woman. The cops raided his birthday party, detaining him and 12 other queer black men that night. According to the Post, he was arrayed in a gorgeous dress of cream-colored satin. I know that mugshot. That didn't faze him not one bit. He snapped at the arresting officers with the words, "You is no gentleman." The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. Our ancestors fought for gay rights much longer than many think. Queens resisted oppression before our beloved Marsha P. Johnson at Stonewall in 1969, before black gay activist Bayard Rustin helped organize the March on Washington in 1962, fighting for all black lives, all of them, before the Pepper Hill Club raid in Baltimore in 1955, where they arrested 162 gay men. We have been fighting for ages, and we will be fighting for ages to come. This life is filled with joy, but we gotta work for it. This is for Shaquita Lee, the first queen to headline a show at the Kennedy Center. She's a shining beacon of how far we've come as queer black people. This is for Genesis and all the DC queens who refuse to let hate keep them from what they were born to do. Stomp the stage in a beat face wearing something these bigoted men wish they could wear. I know William Dorsey Swann is looking over her shoulder, giving tens across the board from heaven. We shall overcome, but in order to do so, we must embrace the feminine. Black boys, black men, we must embrace the feminine in ourselves, in each other. That boy you make fun of who likes to paint his nails during lunch has a better understanding of who he is than you. So sit back and take notes. These soft boys ain't that soft, so watch your mouth. Ask questions, learn something, get into our history. We have been here longer than the ones who work tirelessly to silence us. We got tons of moisturized skin in the game. So if anyone tries to test you in or outside of the classroom, just remember, the first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC. The first drag queen in America was an enslaved African who lived in DC.
Y'all, one more time. Next up, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Ayan Moladina. And Ayan is a 10th grader in Austin, Texas, who first got involved in activism at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, when he worked on public health and pro-vaccine policy and grassroots campaigns. Since then, he has worked on multiple public health, education, youth mental health, and civic engagement policy campaigns. Given his lived experiences with mental health, he is passionate about providing resources to struggling youth and expanding suicide prevention resources for students across the country. He believes youth have the power to bring important issues forward, and he strives to help unite the legislators, advocates, and citizens around all of these issues regarding youth. He now serves as the Federal Policy Director at SEAT, a movement of young people developing transferable skills and demonstrating youth visibility in policymaking. Y'all, let's give a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ayan Moladina, and I have the distinct privilege of serving as the Federal Policy Director for Students Engaged in Advancing Texas, SEAT. And we are honored to be here at the Supreme Court, fighting back and protecting student rights. I live in Austin, the heart of the great, yet sometimes difficult state of Texas. I stand before you today as a proud Muslim American. And I bring that up because the people bringing Mahmoud v. Taylor forward claim that books and stories that represent the diverse American population that this country has become to be violate their religious beliefs. Acting like diversity and different identities don't exist doesn't mean they're not there. Whether you agree with LGBTQ+ identities or not, there are gay children in this country that deserve to be loved and accepted. And their lives matter. And I will not stand to live in a society that says that their stories, their identities don't matter and can't be taught. We will not allow them to grow up feeling like they don't belong and that they can't be true to their authentic selves. Suicide rates for LGBTQ+ youth are on the rise. And just yesterday we found out that the Trump administration is defunding the service line on 988 that serves LGBTQ+ youth. Because they feel that they don't have support, because they feel like they can't share who they are. We must not rest until every child, no matter their identity, knows how much they matter and that their life is worth living. This is beyond books and what is taught in classrooms. This is about saving lives. As the Supreme Court has affirmed, students like me have our own constitutional rights. We don't lose our freedom of thought, or right to receive information just because someone else is uncomfortable. The Supreme Court has made it clear that students do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. In Tinker v. Des Moines, the court affirmed that students have a right to express themselves, even if their message is unpopular. And under the Equal Protection Clause, we know that our schools are required to treat students equally under the law. That means public schools cannot favor one viewpoint over another or discriminate against students based on who they are. If the plaintiffs succeed, they will be setting a precedent that undermines both free speech and equal protection. And that should concern every single American, no matter where you stand on the political spectrum. I mentioned that the plaintiffs are using religion as an argument, and that's concerning to me because since I was a little boy, I have been taught that religion cannot be used as a means of silencing other people or proving a point to those we disagree with. If the opposition was really concerned about religion, they'd be going after the books where heterosexual characters are also engaging in romantic activities, not just the relationships they don't like. I've always been told by my faith leaders, by my parents, and by my communities that God loves them all and that everyone is equal in the eyes of God. They are representing hate and discrimination, not held values by Muslims like myself. Are we seriously going to let parents pull their kids out of class, not just for one time period, but for the entire day, just because they don't agree that stories that represent every single student should be taught to educate students about the identities of their peers? My school threatened not to let me go on to the next grade because I was at the Capitol advocating for education issues. If there were consequences for my absences due to my advocacy, how are we saying there's going to be no consequences for students that are skipping the entire day to avoid a book? The opposition claims to value students being in school and learning in order to succeed in the 21st century. However, students are going to be sitting at home not learning just because they're avoiding a small period of time that can actually lead them to be a better, empathetic, open-minded, and kind-hearted human being who cares about those around them, just like all of us. Let's be clear. This isn't about shielding kids from romance. It's about silencing one kind of romance. That's not protecting students. That's viewpoint discrimination, and it's unconstitutional. The law cannot and must not give effect to private prejudice. It's not just about books. It's about whether our schools will send the message that some families matter less. We know that LGBTQ students are more likely to face bullying, mental health challenges, and suicide. These stories don't cause them. Erasing them does. Representation saves lives. The plaintiffs didn't object to a girl giving a Valentine to a boy, but they objected when a girl gave a Valentine to another girl. Same story, same love, different treatment. That's discrimination. I remember the first time I read a book that had a Muslim character who wasn't just a side note or a stereotype, but a full, complex person who reminded me of myself. It made me feel like I wasn't invisible. That's what representation does. It tells students that they belong, and that just like that books that gave me a sense of self, these stories we're fighting for today do the same for LGBTQ+ students and others who feel erased. When students see themselves in literature, they understand that their identity is not only valid, but celebrated. Let's be clear. This isn't about one district or one state. Mahmoud v. Taylor has the potential to set a dangerous national precedent. If the court decides that discomfort is more important than inclusion, that silence is preferable to representation, it opens the door for public schools across the country to start erasing the identities of any group that someone claims to disagree with. We're standing up here not only for ourselves, but for all students across America. Especially in states like Texas, where school funding is based on attendance, not enrollment, students not being in school can truly cause suffering for all students. That is unacceptable. Our schools and teachers are already struggling, and we will not tolerate further cuts to the American public education system. Public schools are meant to prepare us to be good citizens in a diverse democracy. But we cannot be prepared for democracy by being taught that some people's stories don't belong. That's not education, that's exclusion. President Trump has tried to take down our public schools, including through the attempted dismantling of the Department of Education, because they don't want minority students who benefit from quality public schools to succeed. But through all the noise and all the lawsuits, I still believe in us. I believe in students, in educators, in parents, in communities who are choosing love over fear, over silence, and inclusion over discrimination. We're not just fighting back, we're building forward. A future where every student walks into the school building knowing that they matter, that their story is being taught, that they belong, that their identity is not a problem to be solved, but a light to be celebrated. That's the future we're fighting for. This is the time we say no more. Hands off our students. Hands off our public schools. We say hell no! Thank you for being here and thank you for having me. Let's get to work.
We've got some water to my right, and also some snacks. Please treat yourself. As long as you have love in your heart, please treat yourself. As long as you're all about inclusion, please treat yourself.
I'll throw up some shade for you wherever you sit down. Go ahead.
Petitioners deserve complete preliminary relief. In a system where thousands of students are daily opted in and out of the class for multiple reasons, there's no basis for denying options for religious reasons. The board does not dispute that under its theory, it can compel instruction using adherence without notice. The First Amendment demands more. Parents, not school boards, should have the final say on such religious matters. I welcome the first questions.
Could you spend a minute to explain why the record shows that the children are merely exposed to these signs and stories?
Yes, Your Honor. I was talking with the books themselves. The books themselves teach, for example, that...
I mean, what I'm talking about is not necessarily what the books say, but rather is that are the books just there and no more, or are they actually being taught out of the books?
No, we know that the teachers are required to use the books. When the books were first introduced in August of 2022, the board suggested they'd use 5 times before the end of the year. That's in the that's a 270A in the CERT appendix. One of the schools, the Sherwood School in June, for Pride Month, said that they were going to read 1 book each day to celebrate Pride Month. The board's own testimony from Superintendent Hazel said that the books must be used as part of the instruction, and that at 642 in the appendix, that discussion will ensue. That was the entire point of withdrawing the opt-outs and removing even notified parents and letting them allowed to know. The board said in that statement also that every student will be taught the inclusivity storybooks, and also the district court transcript of 63 has counsels that mention that some of the books have to be used and it can be moved. The school board alleges that the opt-out system becomes local. Is that a factor we should take into account to decide whether it should be There's could be situations where it could be unworkable. The board never raised that until after this litigation commenced. When they announced the withdrawal, they said it was because every student had to complete the inclusivity books. When they produced documents in response to an open records request, there was no mention of it not being workable. When parents met with the superintendent, this is in the Shaw-Darty declaration at JA 44, the reason given there was inclusivity. There was no mention of administratability least a dozen classrooms. You're talking maybe one student per classroom. That hardly compares with the 1 in 8 students who are opted out for individual education programs. 15% of students in Montgomery County are taking English for speakers of a second language. The board's own opt-outs are required for the same instruction, required by state law to be opted out when the same books are read in health class.
Council, that wasn't the basis of the circuits, of the district court or the circuit court's denial of the preliminary injunction. They never reached the issue of whether or not there was disruption or that the motive was for taking away the outcome. What they decided was that there wasn't coercion, that there was mere exposure. I understood from the record that all that was required is that the books be put on the bookshelf. If that's all that was required, is that coercion?
Well, that's not what's required here. We know it's...
Please answer my question.
If all that's required is exposure, and our clients are not contesting that, that would be, or not saying that would be a burden.
All right, then let's go to the second step. Let's say there's compulsion to read the book out loud. Is merely being exposed to the reading of the book out loud.
The board admits that that exposure could be a burden. And for example, they say in 25% of their group that they were exposed to pictures of love, and that would be a burden. They would allow an opt-out for. And certainly whether there's a burden...
Let's go back and say that the mere exposure, probably not very clear, that the mere exposure to things that you object to is not coercion.
It would really depend on the individual religious beliefs. Here, for example, our Catholic clients...
So what you're saying is that the exposure of children to the fact that two people are getting married is coercion? That two people of the same sex are getting married is coercion?
No, our clients have not raised that objection. It's supposed someone would raise that.
Let's talk about what in the portrayals, so that the mere reading or looking at the pictures, like looking at an image of Muhammad, would be coercion. Because I'm looking at the books, I've looked through all of them. They have two men, little Bobby's wedding, where they're getting married. One is black and one is white in this rendition of the book.
Hey friends, so we, of course, please hydrate yourselves. We have water, snacks over here. You know, the only requirement is love in everyone's heart
getting married
for our authentic, inclusive community.
Again, it would depend on
I did want to hold this up. If you are looking to see any of these like scary quote-unquote books that are up for debate, we actually have this QR code. You can scan and purchase these books today and support these small business owners and the authors who have wrote these books. So of course, support inclusive literature and materials. And thank you all so much for being here. In our later half, in about 30 minutes, we have amazing drag performances, some music coming out.
Now, so let's move to what I think your objection is. I think your objection is to the student guidance, correct?
Our objections would be even to reading books that violate our clients' religious beliefs. They've been, their faith teaches, for example...
These QR codes right over here at our swag table that you can scan for the banned books. If you're grabbing water or snacks or refreshment, you can scan these QR codes or pick up one of these, take them home with you. And this has all of the books that were listed
they can pick their pronouns based on the way they feel, not even
case.
just for based on their gender, but how they feel from moment to moment. And just to make sure...
So our next speakers, Maggie Siddiqui. Maggie Siddiqui, she, her, is a senior fellow at Interfaith Alliance and a consultant specializing in faith-based advocacy for social change.
Do you think it's fair to say that?
Coalition building across lines of difference and public policy on religious freedom and standing up against hate. She recently concluded her appointment to the Office of the U.S. Secretary of Education, where she served as Director of the Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Prior to joining the Biden-Harris administration, Maggie Siddiqui served as Senior Director director of the Religion and Faith team at the Center for American Progress, where she led the organization's work on religious liberty and engaged the coalition of diverse faith leaders to advance progressive policies. Siddiqui spent nearly a decade before that in national organizations serving American Muslim communities. She has a master's degree in Islam and Christian Muslim relations from Hartford Seminary and a bachelor's degree in religion from Wesleyan University. Siddiqui also earned a graduate certificate in Islamic chaplaincy from Hartford Seminary and in nonprofit management from Georgetown University. Please welcome our next speaker.
Everything is, portrayed
Reverend
as this.
Paul Brandeis.
Everyone accepts this, except for
absolutely.
the girl.
Reverend Paul Brandeis.
Reservations about it, but her mother corrects her. No, you shouldn't have any.
Raushenbush, President and CEO of Interfaith Alliance, is a nationally esteemed national and visionary interfaith leader dedicated to advancing an inclusive democracy and protecting the sacred promise of religious freedom and civil rights for all people. Please welcome to the stage Reverend Paul and Maggie Siddiqui. Thank you all for
things like, well, I have friends in that situation. Do you think it's really fair for you to agree, or to suggest that it's hurtful for students who disagree?
Mr. Baxter, I guess I'm interested in what the nature of the rule you're asking.
Good morning.
I mean, when you started,
nice to be with you all this morning. This is a beautiful day and a beautiful group of inclusive people coming together for all families, all communities. My name is Reverend Paul Brandeis Raushenbush. I come to you this morning as a Baptist minister. I also come to you as a married gay man who has 2 children in public school. I also come to you as an American who is dedicated to the project of achieving our democracy together. I am also the president of Interfaith Alliance, and my organization filed an amicus brief in this case, arguing that allowing public school students to be introduced to LGBTQ+ perspectives and characters does not infringe on the religious freedom, and then permitting parents to opt out their children out of such instruction will create a destructive precedent that would also create an untenable burden on public schools and weaken our democracy. I am passionate about inclusive education. My life's work has been to make space and opportunity for people from diverse backgrounds to know one another and to increase in respect, understanding, and love for their neighbors. My work alongside other faith and interfaith leaders has always been clear that our intention is not to make anyone believe or be anything that they are not. Instead, we celebrate diversity while also acknowledging that in a democracy, we will live side by side with people who are different from us. People about whom we can learn. People who deserve equal rights to live freely and in peace.
Really, the class can't do this.
I am the proud product of a public school education. Thank you very much to my teachers, and believe that public education is the single most important building block of our democracy. My husband and I are also proud parents of 2 children who are in public schools with wonderful teachers who are helping them to learn the skills of math, science, reading, and social studies. Part of the great work our teachers are doing is to ensure that part of the curriculum features stories from diverse racial and religious backgrounds, so that students from all families feel seen and welcome. I am grateful that my school also includes stories that represent our family. so that our children too can feel fully a part of the tapestry that makes up our public school and our community.
Okay, so that's
It pains me deeply that the court today is hearing a case in which some are choosing to opt out of stories that represent the LGBTQ community and my family. This case was intentionally brought to pit communities against one another. As a religious leader, it breaks my heart that the bedrock American principle of religious freedom has been weaponized to such an extent that it is encouraging people to opt out of learning about their neighbors, and in a very real sense, opting out of democracy.
We know these things, schools around the
If the
country already
Supreme
have
Court
these
gives parents the ability to opt out their children from engaging with even the existence of LGBTQ people, we know it will not stop there. If the insanity of book bannings is any indication, Christian nationalist groups may next seek to prevent their children from learning about Jews, Muslims, and other faith communities, as well as any history and identity that they don't like. It could be the end of inclusive, informative education. True religious freedom is about diversity and tolerance, not exclusion and suppression.
Are these all coercive?
No matter what the outcome of this case, I will be committed to the well-being and dignity of my own family and all the families in my public schools, my neighborhood, and my nation. I will fight for all of us and an inclusive education and an American democracy that represents all the people.
Arise in reality.
And now it is an honor to introduce my colleague, Maggie Siddiqui, a senior fellow at Interfaith Alliance, a Muslim woman, an extraordinary interfaith leader, and my friend.
In positions of work outside the home.
And no one here is raising a burden in that situation. They were far beyond that word indoctrination.
Greetings of peace to all. My
And
name
those
is Maggie
cases,
Siddiqui. I'm a senior fellow with Interfaith Alliance.
Other than saying,
I'm speaking to you today as an American Muslim. It is painful for me that Muslim families have been centered and presented in this case on the opposite side of inclusive education.
To guess at what you might find.
It is always painful to have to
and
differ
then let you
publicly with any members of
because that's the injunction you're asking for, isn't it?
But it
you're
is because some of my members of my
for schools
have
to
been centered that I
provide you
feel an obligation
information about what's being taught and
so
how
that
object to it
LGBTQ
on religious grounds.
including LGBTQ Muslim kids, know that there are many Muslims
under Yoder,
who
without
see
Yoder, under a Smith regime,
who want to be
here,
in
those things would trigger strict scrutiny. If you're in a
and
regime
who
where there's
welcome the
direct
presence
discrimination
of books
like
and
here,
narratives
who
that
has
embrace
students
your
raising told that they
existence in
can't
our
opt out for
community.
certain religious reasons, but not other religious reasons.
Now,
And that's
Muslims
always going
across
to
the
get
country
strict
are
scrutiny.
struggling to experience
Thank you,
our nation's
Counsel.
promise of
As far as
religious
simply
freedom.
looking at something,
Muslim
looking
kids
at
are
the image
dealing
of
with
Muhammad is a
bullying
serious
from
matter for some
adults and
folks
peers
opposed.
alike, and frequently struggle to receive
That's correct, Your Honor. And Barnett already helps
to celebrate
provide some
Ramadan,
guidance on this, that forcing people to do
Eid,
things that directly violate their
There's
faith
a lot
violates
of work
their
to
free
be done
exercise.
to ensure
I don't know how
religious
often
freedom
it comes up in the
protections are
schools,
upheld.
but our religious religion towards
That
prudence
work does not
does have the
and
element of
should not
sincerity.
involve
That's correct.
harming
There has to
or
be a religious
excluding
belief. It can't be just something
LGBT
that you disagree with for
people in
political or
any way.
philosophical reasons. It must be sincere. There's also a substantiality
Furthermore,
requirement that depends on the
I worry
objective
that if
pressure
the
that the
Supreme
government's putting
Court
on you.
grants
All of those
opt-outs to
things
educational
provide a
materials in
significant
this
screen.
scenario,
And this,
it
we
will
know
open
from
the
history,
floodgates
from common
to
sense and looking
opt-outs
what's
of all
happening in
manner of
schools that have these
educational
brought out
materials as
policies.
well.
Like Montgomery County
I
itself
worry, for
had
example,
prior to this
that
lawsuit,
soon
anything that
people would
violated
object to the
your
existence
beliefs,
of
you could opt
Muslim
out. And we didn't see these
books
kinds
that
of,
kids read in
and when they
school
have come up,
because
courts have dealt with
if
them
they are
in
not
reasonable
Muslim,
ways.
Islam is a different religion, does not align with their religious views, and therefore
think you mentioned
perhaps the
Yoder a
existence
couple
of Muslim characters in a book could be deemed
spend a minute
objectionable.
on how you
And they would say their kids needed to be formally opted out of any
play
form of such books.
analysis or should play.
Where does
Your
it
Honor,
end?
Yoder looked
insignificant part of the unique coercive environment of the public schools referred to the hydraulic insistence on conformity to define in schools and removing children from their parents for 8 hours a day. Here we have a situation that's even more egregious than in Yoder, where you have children who are extremely
I also don't understand how you might be expected to implement the kinds of opt-outs the Supreme Court is hearing about today. Before coming to Interfaith Alliance,
because it was a curiosity into and a curriculum that's designed
and in that role,
to disrupt
about the many
students'
challenges
thinking on sexuality and gender identity. In Yoder, you had incidental encounters with values that were contrary to those of the other. And so, in many ways, this case is easier than Yoder.
Whose interests are we concerned
allows
with here?
parents to
The interests of the
opt their
children
kids
or
out
the
of any educational material, any
Your Honor, we have
any
made children for the preliminary
public school
injunction,
teachers will find themselves
which again
having
was
to
filed
create
2 years ago.
individualized
We have
curriculum for every
raised
child. This will lead to absolute chaos and strain, inevitably leading to teacher burnout, which we are already facing.
very flawed.
Simply put, it will be impossible and unbearable. And for some proponents of this outcome, I believe that is the actual goal, to undermine public education. But I believe in public education. I believe every child is entitled to a public education that enables them to be fully themselves, to freely express their religious beliefs, their perspectives, that acknowledges, celebrates the many different kinds of people that live in the community. Like Paul, I'm a proud product of public schools myself. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to learn from, and sometimes even vehemently disagree with, people I never would have encountered otherwise. That's what it means to live in a community and to feel an obligation to respect and to learn from no matter our differences. That's what true freedom and democracy looks like. Thank you for having us.
Right. On certain subjects. Would you agree that there comes a point when the speaker is able to make that distinction?
That's right. And many clients' objections could be diminished as their children get older. Here we're in a situation where Montgomery County's current principals are objected to being approached with dismissive religion and shaming toward children who disagree. The board itself withdrew 2 of the books from illicit contact. Finally agreed that what parents and petition and its own principals were saying was accurate.
And distinguish particularly based on this we can touch on this sex and the Maryland legislature itself is recognized. These subjects.
Oh man, yeah, that went through the windshield.
Here's another way to practice service. Yes, to
God.
She was objecting to the fact that again, engaged
That's why you're in this number. No, you don't want to be liable. Right,
sorry, your insurance parents everywhere. That's why you see
good luck. We're like working on that street.
Right
so if some of this
have Javon Love, pronounced she, they. Javon Love is the Nubian goddess of Richmond. They are known for high energy performances, Afro-futuristic drag looks, and joy that cannot be shaken. As mixed gay pride, Javon understands the importance of educating yourself and your community. That is why they are so excited to be a part of the cause.
I want to take you back to some of the questions for just a
Accessible and applicable
because
for all
I too was
students.
struck
Please give
by
a very warm,
these are, you know, young kids, picture books, and matters concerning sexuality. I suspect there are a lot of non-religious parents who aren't all that thrilled about this. And then you know, add in religion, and this more serious. So I guess I'm searching for.
Yeah, that's crazy that video was out because I never video was that weird. So last I thought this happened like a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was Wednesday was just really I'm not gonna judge him for that.
Totally nice guy. I got no in Central what happened at Pride. And in reality, we didn't see those.
I always go.
To deal with it without
there's some lines that just don't want to stop.
Right. No. And again, super guys. He helped me up here one morning where I fucking rock. No, actually, I think
whether if you fail
double stack. I took a walk out without it. I had to see what they
over there. You can just come on over if you have love and inclusion in your hearts. We all belong.
There's things I care more about, but
This is what they are so scared of. Somebody freeing their minds and not being so shallow. Thank you, Javon. Thank you for introducing yourself.
Hello, DC. How are we feeling today?
well, let's see the thing.
Thank you so much for
Nation is
Thank you so much
like,
for
I'm not going to sit here
My
and
name
say
is
that they're
Javon
like,
Love. I am from Richmond, Virginia. Has anybody been to Richmond before? I am a God-fearing angel. If you're ever looking for a key points to go downtown, please feel free to look out for that. But we are here today to say that education is important, and we need to make sure that everybody of every race, every gender, however you are, gets the proper education today. Okay? 1 second, I'm going to do the musical stylings.
I saw a lot of those like double things.
Thank you.
Even Carrie, I didn't know Carrie's last name.
It is important to make sure that we have books for everyone. I know me growing up,
Religion is another one that kind of under the equity regulation.
but I did the research.
I didn't know his last name, but I know it was Carrie, but I see his badge always. It says Donald.
To have access to that because some of us don't have
unless you're talking
about
the votes,
and we began to get rid of any education that we should have on our history, on our culture, on things that keep us alive, and stop the past from reoccurring to destroy other things.
I think we're not.
We have to move forward, not backwards. And the only way we can do that is with beautiful education, teachers that are properly paid, and making sure that everybody gets to read the books that they need to
hopefully
read.
I'll be there.
I want to say thank you so much for the entire organization for having me. It's been an honor and pleasure. I'm so excited to be here with y'all. Please keep raising your voices, making yourselves loud. When things get really hard like this, it is not the time to quit. It is the time to come together and get stronger because we are stronger together, and we will make sure that we have our rights. Thank you so much. Also, thank the bee. Me and that bee are about to be best friends. I can feel it.
In terms of sincerity, in other words, if you're lying about your religious belief, that can be inquired into, but not the legitimacy,
well,
the
let's just keep it
reasonableness,
going now. Next we
the
will
acceptability, the
have Coco
consistency.
None
of that.
Coco is a
Court has
performer,
no
an
business
activist, a
questioning any
motivational
of that
speaker
about
for
someone's
over
religious
20
beliefs, as I understand
years.
the case.
That's right, Your Honor. In this case, again, the fact that the board has admitted that they would give opt-outs to Muslims who object to their children viewing an image of the
Coco
Prophet
is
Muhammad, but
also
not our
an
Muslim
Army
clients who
veteran.
object to
Coco,
their
thank you for your service.
shows that that kind of analysis would entangle courts in religious questions and invite religious discrimination.
And then I guess I am a bit mystified as a lifelong resident of the county how it came to this. Can you just tell us what happened in March of 23? You know, what happened in terms of the objections and how the school board responded to this?
I share your concern. My kids graduated. 2 of my kids graduated from Moco and were opted out when they asked on their own accord to opt out of instructional sex education. And what happened is we're not even entirely sure because for the entire first
Well, good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling this bright, beautiful, sunny morning? The storm came last night to wash away all the injustice, to wash away all the unwanted, the unneeded attitude and hatred and belittling last night. The storm is over. His joy comes in the morning. And that's why we're here celebrating joy and inclusion and being a part of one. Because we move as one sound. This is what I was taught my many, many years in the military. One voice, one sound, one movement. So if we come together like we do today,
the board said when you select these books,
collectively combine our voices and our sound will sound much louder and overtake any hatred and any spewing against us as one family. The human race, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, we are here to say we are all inclusive. We're all a part of one.
I don't think so.
So as long as we keep this momentum going, this is just the beginning, it's not the end. Because guess what? The longer we keep setting our voices and spreading our message, it will overpower those that are trying to come against us.
And now let me ask you about
so we scream the loudest for those that don't have the strongest voice. So keep on screaming loud, keep on screaming proud, and keep on including everyone.
There's actually in the book, you know, it presents a worldview, right?
This is let's disrupt the norms, that book.
Let's disrupt the norms. And many of the books, it's not just pictures, it's actually the text. It's, you know, it's talking about there are not just two genders,
Right, now I have the very
non-binary, pronouns, etc. So
Cameron
that's exposure, though, to those ideas. It's not just exposure to the pictures of two men getting married. It's exposure to the idea. But to clarify, what are your clients objecting to? Are they objecting only to exposure, or are they objecting to what they're calling indoctrination?
If by exposure you mean having the books read to them, they do object to that. They're not objecting to the books being on the shelf or available in the library without a teacher requiring them to read it or reading it.
And also in
so you would not be making the same claim based on your client's religious belief if they were just on the shelf or just in the library. But another parent bring up.
I suppose they could, but then you would, I mean, again, we don't see these kinds of things
21
happening, but
under
they would
21
almost certainly
and
lose
lads 20
because
under 20. That's
it
a
would,
very impressive.
strict scrutiny would easily be satisfied.
This past year, Samuels received the Trailblazer Award from the Human Rights Campaign, was recognized in Outsmart as a hometown hero, and was honored as Pride Houston Honorary Trendsetter Grand Marshal.
About exposure. It's not about books on the shelf. It's not about books in the library. It's about actually reading the books with the text that communicates the ideas that
I am Cameron Samuels. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the executive director
for example, the papal exhortation of familiar consortia that they shouldn't expose their children during their innocent years to instruction on sex is disconnected or disassociated from
especially at the Supreme Court.
And so that's
several years ago when my school district banned books, I found myself more in the list of challenged books than I did in my school library. Amid a flurry of emotions, I decided to speak to my school
analysis. So the government
because if not
frames
me,
this
then who was going to represent that student voice?
Your friends on the other
Unlike
side.
today, I was the only student in attendance.
I'm just trying to figure out if that's the right way to think about this, because in Maryland,
our
you're compelled to
education
send your
without us
children
at
to
the
public
table.
schools.
Board
And
members
it's a misdemeanor
surrendered to
if you
fear
don't,
and
and you're fined if
bigotry,
you don't.
ignoring
It's true
my
that the statute gives
for
you
an
an exemption
inclusive
to that
education.
compulsion if you choose
I felt alone
homeschooling or
in
private
that
school.
room at
And what is
17 years old,
thorough and
as
comparable,
my hands trembled
instruction.
and palms sweated. But afterward, people saw me on the live stream and realized that they were not alone.
Playground,
Weeks
or,
later,
we
we returned,
license
and we
to engage in
returned
some kind of
again
activity.
and
There's actually
again,
a
and
compulsion.
throughout the following
So
years,
is
we
public
packed
benefit the
board
right way to
meetings
think
in
about this?
Haiti and across Texas. We built a movement led by students for students, demanding a seat at the table. And what we called Freedom Week, I led students to distribute 100 challenge books at high schools across across the district,
I mean, you're compelled to send your child to public school and pay a fine unless you take
we
advantage
filed
of
legal
an
action
exemption.
with the ACLU
So
to enable
it's just hard
access
for me to see how it's a public benefit in the same way that some other cases have
including the
talked
Trevor
about
Project
benefit. So which
suicide
I mean, I understand you don't want to
prevention
disclaim public benefit, but which way do you think it fits?
Well, I think certainly part of the Barnett example.
We told our stories in local and national press to elevate our voices that would otherwise be unheard. Together, we authored the next chapter of our history, carrying on the values and lessons learned by the giants who stood before us. In their footsteps, we said, nothing about us without us. We stand here today, not because we want to, but because we feel a moral obligation to, when certain people would rather exclude us from the conversation, deprive us from our right to decide what we can learn in our classrooms.
Primary holding to be that the record is threadbare
Our
and contains
existence
no
as
information
marginalized
about how any
people,
teacher
you
or
bet we
student
show up on the front lines of where decisions are made. I should not have had to defend my right as a 17-year-old, but here I am at 21 years old, continuing to do the same.
Just on the shelves or whether students are being taught. And so why would
Because young people, I didn't see young people like myself involved in policy making. I was always asked why I was advocating.
Well, two responses, Your Honor.
Politics
First,
may
this is a
seem divisive or seen as a
If you think about
hobby
the
to
case
some,
of Brown
but for
versus
too many
sex
young
CSA,
people,
is that
too
an
many
already
young
described what happened in that
across
case?
our
Was that
nation,
kind
and
of graphic
especially in my home
sex
state of
simulation
Texas,
with a
were
student?
broke up in a polarized moment for our nation. We do not separate politics from our everyday lives. Our rights, our wealth, our voices, our freedom is all political. Because they treat us as political cause.
for the court to make a
In
determination
2023,
that some
I was
conduct
invited to
that you're complaining
testify
about
before the United
needs to be
States Senate.
enjoined.
Just
And what's
over there,
confusing
right
to
here
me
on book bans.
really hard
In my
in this
remarks,
situation
I told senators
is that we have a
the
lot
actions
of sincerely
one
held
person
beliefs
alone
and concerns
challenging a
and
book
children
in the
and
library
principles
should not
and
burden
I've seen
and
all of those
restrict
things. And
the
so you really
education
want to be
of
careful
90,000
about
students
making
in my
pronouncements
district
that
without
relates to
due
this.
process.
I don't understand how we can do it.
Students have rights of our own, and in today's case, justices, as we are hearing right now, are deciding whether parents or the school would have a bigger say.
And you
What
said
they
that if that's the case, that's not going to be enough.
Is what
I
students
disagree, Your Honor.
have to
The
say.
record is undisputed.
Where are the student
and I again will
voices?
refer you
Where
to
are-
the
where's
district
our
court
right
transcript at
to decide?
63.
We
where
won't
counsel
let
saying the
them
Fourth Circuit
forget
is
about us
wrong
because
when it
states
quote,
and scholars for the advancement of children's constitutional rights filed an amicus brief in today's case.
any of the books.
In our amicus brief, we argue that students maintain a right to discover ourselves and experiences that we're unfamiliar with. We deserve stories that reflect the realities of our personal lives, diversity
conjunction with their
we
use.
are, and
So,
compassion.
are you saying that you do have affidavits and information
Students
about
deserve the freedom of expression
what
and
they
a truthful curriculum, not policies that
Yes, we
silence
do.
our voices. Public schools are centers for community and a cornerstone of democracy. And if we are to solve the Texas-sized issues of today, a student's seat at the table is a great way to start.
Is that we can, when the injury is imminent, we can
Thank you so much.
Let me ask you another series of questions because I'm just trying to understand the implications of the rule that you want us to reach on this record. We're not really sure what's going on. Is your argument actually confined to the content of the school's curriculum? I mean, I appreciate that you say we're in the public school, this is a uniquely coercive environment, but what if we have a teacher who is gay and has a photo of a wedding on her desk, is a parent able, would they opt out of having their student be in that classroom?
We don't know because the student,
to picket President Wilson in front of the White House and say, Mr. President, give us a chance to vote. Which part of our American history is free speech, right? So if we agree or disagree, it's like, how awesome are we as a country to get to do things, right? And sometimes there are doubts. Just a guess.
They just want an opt out. They don't want their children.
Hey, friends.
The Supreme Court, I mentioned early on, it's in a tavern. Eventually, when they build
June 29th, Montgomery County Pride in the Plaza. Woo!
Pride,
yes, because
they're
Pride
in the
is
Capitol
happening.
until
It is also World Pride this year, everybody. Yes, and we will be celebrating in DC. So on Sunday, June 29th, downtown Silver Spring and Veterans Plaza, please join us for Montgomery County Pride. Also visit livingyourtruth.org/events.
He shows up to work, he's like, wait, why are we being the legislative office?
Right now, we have this phenomenal drag competition going on in downtown Silver Spring that you do not want to miss. It was also Emmy nominated last year. So, and won a Gold Telly Award. So, like, please come out. I believe the shows are on May 9th, May 30th, June 13th, and then again on June 29th at Montgomery County Pride in the Plaza from 12 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. Thank you all so much for being here. We have some more speakers and performers coming along the way from 1 until, actually, for the rest of the time until 2 o'clock. So thank you all so much for being here. Stay hydrated, and we love you all, and we love inclusivity.
Yes, a parent knows. The child comes home and says...
Also, my name is Philip Alexander Downey, the CEO of the Montgomery County Pride Family Moco Pride Center, Inc. If you all have not met me, thank you all so much.
Religious teachings. I object to that. Parent knows. Can a parent insist that the school allow the child to sit out?
Parents would lose in that context.
All right, let me ask you one other set of questions about coercion. Because Justice Kavanaugh points out that you know the test is burden. I had understood that the way in which this court analyzed burden in these kinds of cases is to look to coercion. So there really aren't a separate thing. And that's what I'm really puzzling over is that it seems to me that coercion in this context is actually operating at 2 different levels, and that we have to kind of really focus on that in order to understand what's happening. One is to the students in the classroom, the coercion of being forced to be exposed to these kinds of materials or these kinds of things, or can they opt out? But I think there's another coercion, and you've touched on it a little bit, and that is assuming that there's no opt-out in this environment. Are students being coerced into being in that school at all? And I think those 2 different ways are really important. I mean, as I read our cases, we could have set up a constitutional framework in which all students are required to attend public school. They have to go to public school. And I think in that situation, you would have a pretty strong opinion that it burdens the parents' religious exercise if the public school teaches children things that contradict the parents' religious beliefs. Here I am, I'm a religious parent. In this school, and when my kid goes there, he's learning all sorts of things that I'm saying against my religious belief. I get that. But what do we do about the world that we're actually in, which is where Pearson says that the parent can choose to put their kid elsewhere, that you don't have to send your kid to public school. In that situation, I guess I'm struggling to see how it burdens a parent's religious exercise if the school teaches something that the parent disagrees with. You have a choice. You don't have to send your kid to that school. You can, in another situation, you can homeschool it. How is it a burden on the parent if they have the option to send their kid elsewhere?
There are in most cases, in most kinds of things.
Yes, absolutely. I understand, but in so many other constitutional doctrines, we don't focus on whether people actually can afford to protect their rights. So many other doctrines, I understand, but usually we set aside and we say that you still have the right to get an attorney in a civil case, even if you can't afford it, right? So we don't focus on whether
I'm worried about is a world in which when there is an option to send your kids somewhere else, it seems to me that these parents would be dictating what this school does in the way that you say our cases say they can't do, right?
And Carson versus Solomon, the school never required boarding, the parents were already paying tuition to go to the school. In all those cases, the schools didn't really need hires, they were being coerced to do anything. The school employees, Sherbert, Adele Sherbert, Thomas, they weren't being coerced to do anything, they just were being pressured to write their please in order to access the benefit of much less valuable than education. Thank you, Council. Ms. Harris?
Mr. Chief Justice, when the government forces people to choose between violating sincerely held religious beliefs or living that burden is exercised. In Milton, offering foster care contracts only to groups that would certify same-sex couples, burden groups that believe that marriage is prohibited in Sherbert, offering unemployment benefits only to people that want to burden those groups that raise
the state action just by not policing everything that needs to be in the schools as it is. So it's just with the teachers. It's what the teacher says, and then again, I guess I take it yet from what so there's teacher liability, and then for the laws, no issues with just how this works out practically. Teachers,
and do you think it's okay that Mr. Masters answered my questions? He said he has no objection to the fact that the school is saying you should leave. And then if the next thing is I don't want to leave, I don't want to be in the same way as everybody else is. Is that a plan?
We agree with petitioners that that would be just the same version of each of them. That's not a failure first. I think it's very intelligent.
The person can say, like, I'm not getting the same education, the same commitment as everybody else is because I have anything.
I don't think so. As a matter of practice, and the reason is that in the United States, from Pennsylvania, Arizona, Utah, Hawaii, Minnesota,
all right, party people. Next up, we have Megan Stoller Sheeper, who is a sophomore at Poolsville High School in Montgomery County, and is an advocate. Okay, Poolsville. And is an advocate for LGBTQ plus inclusivity in our schools. Give a big warm welcome to Megan.
Responding to the same problem, which is if you accept that it is some sort of level of compulsion that triggers it, they're accepting the same whole series of opt-outs and alternatives.
Good morning.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this event. With everything happening right now, it is inspiring to see so many people gathering together. And this would not have been possible without them. My name is Megan Stallard, and I'm a sophomore at Poolsville High School in Montgomery County. I am lucky to attend such an accepting and supportive school.
To take the books off the shelf.
We have inclusive curriculum and supportive teachers. And while homophobia, racism, and hatred exist at my school, those things are rare and far outweighed by kindness and inclusivity. Something else that is rare at my school is fighting. Unsurprisingly, the ability of our students and faculty to be empathetic and accepting of one another contributes to our ability to resolve conflicts safely.
Now, they also asked the court to enjoin defendants from denying them advance notice and opportunity to opt their children out of any other instruction.
There is undeniably a group which is most affected by the school environment. And I'm not just talking about LGBTQ plus students like myself. I'm talking about the friends of mine who I wish could be here on the stage with me, but who cannot because their parents cannot accept them for who they are. I'm talking about the children of the parents who have gone to the Supreme Court in an attempt to preserve their ignorance and hatred and pass it down for generations to come. I am here on their behalf because every child deserves a thorough and unbiased education, especially those who will not receive it at home.
The advance notice of opt-out of the material that the religious.
As you all know, the Supreme Court case Mahmoud v. Taylor came from NCPS. I have seen the testimony of those plaintiffs to our Board of Education, and it is hurtful and hateful. They use religion as an excuse for excluding and ostracizing other human beings, and the fact that they even have a chance to write their hatred into law is sickening.
What are your thoughts about that?
It does not violate the freedom of religion to include multiple perspectives in education, but it does violate the separation of church and state to restrict public education based on religious concerns.
Would that be another way to approach this case?
In the 1920s, the issue of religion in schools centered on a debate over teaching evolution versus creationism. knowing what we know now, should we teach creationism in our schools? No, of course not. Like so many other issues, inclusivity in education is a concern of human rights. It should not be political. This is not something we should have to fight for. But here we are.
So that is absolutely another pathway that court could go down.
So to conclude, I'd like to leave you with a personal story. I have been raised religious. I am Catholic. My parents have always taken special care to bring my siblings and I to a progressive church. Our church has an LGBTQIA+ ministry, and the social issues covered in its sermons often include calls for the Catholic Church to be more inclusive and supportive.
So you failed the Smith test, but you still have to show
religion does not have to be hateful. I have seen it be welcoming and kind.
Or Circuit's opinion to suggest that.
And in a country that seems in so many ways to be regressive, it is beautiful to know that good change is possible.
Discrimination
so
on
thank
the
you.
basis of religion, if you're treating people of faith worse or a particular religion.
And with that, I would like to introduce Justin, a student from Magruder High School.
Just to be clear, your position in this case is that you're not seeking to alter the instruction in the classroom or what's the content of the classroom.
All right,
You're
next
only
up.
seeking
Big warm welcome for Justin Tom, who uses he, him, his pronouns, who is a junior at Magruder High School, who is passionate about advocating for his community. He is half Chinese and half Vietnamese, and I really want y'all to give him a very warm welcome. Thank you.
Two sets of reasons. One is that it's discretionary, so by definition, it's not generally applicable. The board can turn on a dime and change who gets exemptions, what kinds of exemptions are covered, and that's in fact the record here.
Every time you erase a book, you don't just remove a story, you remove a mirror, and you're done letting it shatter our reflection. Inclusive education does not brainwash children, it doesn't teach them what to think, it teaches them how to think. Inclusive education gives them the tools to think critically, compassionately, and completely. It teaches them that the world is wide and messy and beautiful and worth understanding. No one's humanity should be treated with suppression and oppression. To those who fear that inclusive education is too political, I ask, when did empathy become a partisan issue? When did facts become fragile? Representation is not radical. What's radical is pretending kids don't deserve to see themselves in the stories they're told. Some try to treat diversity like a pop quiz they forgot to study for and would rather cancel the whole class rather than catch up. You give people the right to opt out of LGBTQIA+ stories, and suddenly we're back to treating queer identities like a field trip permission slip. Check here if your child is allowed to know other people exist. Once you label our lives as optional, you've already decided discomfort and diversity are where the learning begins. Growth blooms in the soil of struggle. If a student is never asked to stretch their mind or open their heart to identities different from their own, that is not education.
If you have a decision maker who can just say, I'm going to make discretion,
if students can be opted out of learning about people with unique identities, then these people become the lesson no one ever gets.
It seems hard to see why that would be true. And again, the fact that the board did
students are not fragile, they're fierce. They can handle a little nuance, and they must keep shining their weird, wild, brilliant lights in every classroom. You don't opt out of taking pictures of rainbows in the sky, but you want to opt out of seeing rainbows in books.
The county fails strict scrutiny because the question is whether the county has a compelling interest. Here, there are certain
inclusive education should be on page 1, and of course some will try to tear it out. You'll continue to write new chapters in our books for inclusion. The next chapter is racially and ethnically diverse. The next chapter is queer. The next chapter is immigrant. The next chapter is intersectional. The next chapter is neurodivergent. The next chapter is diverse religion. The next chapter is joyfully powerful. We are not a controversy, we are a community. We are not a margin, we are a full chapter. This chapter is not skipping. Visibility is not a violation, and love is not a liability. We strip stories and curricula of their color, their queerness, their complexity. We manufacture ignorance. This teaches kids to hate what they have not met yet. This teaches kids to have their compassion exist within a limited framework. Like handing them a puzzle of the world and hiding half the pieces behind it. We need to let students read love before they learn hate. If tomorrow's youth are opted out of reading about each other, they will never
I can't vouch for it not happening, but I think more
the goal is not education without discomfort, it's education with truth. We're not pushing an agenda, if anything. Inclusive education needs to be put on the agenda in our agenda books. Starred, highlighted, and underlined in glitter gel pen. And I guess many would opt out of that. Stigmatization doesn't disappear when you shut the book, it spreads. Give stigma a seat at the curriculum table, next thing you know, it's grading the homework. Therefore, we must refuse to be a table where only certain identities get a seat and the rest get scrapped. Inclusive education isn't on the table, it is the table, and everyone deserves a seat. Many have attempted to dictate what normal looks like in America, but normal has never been one thing. It's always been all of us. Our Supreme Court justices may hold the power to write this chapter, but we will always hold the pen. They might hold the gavel, but we hold the truth. Inclusive education is not radical, erasure is, and we cannot let that be written into the law of the land. If they want to erase inclusivity, I guess we'll have to write it in pen.
So I want to introduce you all to one of our amazing board members. Not just an amazing board member, but as you heard their illustrious past before, they are a veteran, they are an activist of over 20 years. They are a stunning drag performer that has multiple titles. Please welcome to the stage again, Ms. Coco Delanote.
Yes, so as was mentioned before, I am on the board of Moco Pride, and it's titles are just titles unless there's work behind it. So I can honestly say that I'm one of those that definitely the work is definitely behind it. I've been doing this, like you said, for over 20 plus years. So I'm one of those veterans that, you know, when I hear about the youth and I see their need for change and the need for inclusivity, and seeing their passion, it ignites a newer passion in myself. You know, so saying that the work that I've been doing for all these years are not going in vain. You understand what I'm saying? So with seeing that fire, that ignites a new fire in me and a new passion in me, and I hope that ignites a new passion and new fire in each and every one of us, knowing that the children are our future, and if they can't have the voice, let us have the voice.
Okay, just
the ballot box,
just to let you know,
let us have the voice here and continue on forward. So with that,
be down here to speak to us in a little bit.
Keep hope alive and well. And remember that the children are our future.
People need someone to look up to. Never found anyone.
feature of this court's jurisprudence, because this court has not said that public benefits can't be burdensome.
It isn't a feature of our jurisprudence that we have